Hey guys, King of Charmander here. Today I'll be your judge, your jury, and your analyst. And today I bring to you this SCIZOR. Okay, so I've had a Hundo SCIZOR forever, or a Hundo Scyther actually forever. And I was like, you know what can I do to play around in Master League so I could have a little bit of fun, because you know, not all of us really like pay to win cup to where like everyone that's literally spent an arm and a leg and a limb on Dialga. There's nothing wrong if you have. If you did it before when raiding, it's perfectly fine to have, but King of Charmander's never used a Dialga to make rank 10 or legend, and I'm not willing to spend money on one. Yeah, but anyways, instead of spending money on this steel type, we're going to spend our Stardust and freeload, well, I spent a lot of freeload trying to make this. It actually almost goes 5-0. So you're gonna see in this battle, it's gonna go 4 straight wins, and then I get hard counter on the 5th one, so I'm like, sheesh. Of course, just when I can get something good for freaking content, I freaking get hard countered. Yeah, cry. But it's pretty nuts because literally this entire Shoutcast, I lose the lead for everything. The only 2 matchups that SCIZOR really beats convincingly are Zacian and against Togekiss. And they're not even super convincing because in the 2 shield, it really depends if they shield the Iron Head or not. Because, well, even then, like, Zacian, like, with Wild Charge and Close Combat is still a pain in the booty. And the fact that SCIZOR literally has, if it's maxed out for Master League, an absolutely terrible stat product compared to literally almost every, I think every legendary or mythical in Master League Classic. So, I bring to you a painful, I hope you really enjoy these battles. Anyways, speaking of bugs and bug and steel, for my mental health tip of the day, and this is literally one of my friends, well, I had a conversation with one of my friends this morning. It was like, okay, my mental health tip from an actual mental health professional and someone that does this as their job: do not self-diagnose yourself. There's a difference between having a bad day and being clinically having something. Like, you have to be diagnosed by a mental health professional for you to actually be diagnosed with something. And not to say we're gonna diagnose you with the right things. Things go wrong all the time. But the worst thing you could do is self-diagnose yourself, because what happens is a lot of people do this. You go on WebMD and you go on like whatever. You go on Google, you look up what you might have, and it gives you literally the worst case scenario. It gives you like the power level of like, no, don't do it. It's like over 9,000. And like, when it's really not that serious, like I mentioned, you might be having a bad day or something of that. If you are having suicidal thoughts or anything like that, please seek mental health. Go to your primary care provider and make sure you seek mental health treatment or some other sort and get some help. Because again, do not do it yourself, because you are just going to be super anxious and it's just going to be like, just going to rip your head off. Because I'm like, wait, what? I'm like, to my friend, I'm like, hey, did you actually go to like therapy or whatever? And he's like, no, and I'm like, okay, you probably are just having a really, really bad day. Because if you did, it's just one day. Usually for mental health illnesses, like a serious mental health illnesses, or there's like a lot of them, it has to be occurring for a long period of time. So if you're having a bad day, everybody has a bad day. Now, if you're having a bad day for 14 days or more, or like it's been like a week or more, then you might want to get that checked out. But yes, do not self-diagnose yourself. Make sure you're always diagnosed by a mental health professional, because I have to diagnose as a clinician because insurance needs you to do it. So yeah, it's what it is. And yes, it's not going to be 100% right all the time, but you know what I mean? It's like Pokemon Go PvP. We're not right all the time. That's why I'm interested in this, because new things come up, buffs and debuffs happen, and you're like, yay. Okay, that doesn't work anymore. New plan. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this Shoutcast. Hope you look forward to the battles. And yes, we are using SCIZOR in Master League Classic with some pretty sweet dubs, because we lose the lead for this entire freaking Shoutcast. Alright, so here are the battles. SCIZOR is pretty lit. Not really for Master League Classic, because like I mentioned, there's only really 2 matchups you beat, and that's Togekiss and Zacian. So it's gonna be a little rough. And we don't win the lead for the first battle. We get, so the thing about Dialga is it's so strong and overpowered that even though we do resist Iron Head and Draco Meteor, it still does a really good sizable amount of damage. You're gonna see me, this battle is actually pretty nuts because what I try to do for this one versus the other times I've tried to practice with this team is I'm actually gonna try to bully through and get the boost. The only issue is your boost, even if you do get the boost, it still takes like 3 Night Slashes to kill, or like 4 total to kill a Dialga, just because it's so overpowered. As you see, Iron Head still does a third of its damage against my freaking, I'm like, SCIZOR. I'm like, wow, like, you know, it can eat some damage, but, you know, like, 3,000 CP isn't a lot. And as you see, we're not even getting the boost, so it kind of sucks. What I'm hoping is my opponent tries to farm down here and I can grab a shield. Otherwise, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have to do something really fancy. So I'm like, okay, please shield. I want a shield. Give me a shield, and I get a shield. I send in Lugia because I'm going to have to eat 1 Iron Head regardless, or I might eat a Draco Meteor. If I eat a Draco, this is really going to suck, because I'm going to shield, but I'm like, please be a Draco, because if it's not a Draco, they might be able to get to 2 Iron Heads, and I'm like, okay, good. I mean, I'm not sure, but you know what? You never want to be. And this is why Hydro Pump comes in handy. When you have a Landorus or you have an Excadrill, and you have Hydro Pump, you got win cons. So this is probably a Stone Edge, but I could still take it because Lugia is so tanky. Or Rock Slide, either one. So we get, oh yeah, that's right. Stone Edge is for the Therian version, not the Incarnate version. But 90% of the time, they're probably not going to shield this because they think it's an Aeroblast. And it's a Hydro Pump. Hydro Pump will OKO this Landorus. And now we got win cons because that's... Dialga's really hurt. And then we get a Gyarados. And I'm kind of scratching my head as why it's a Waterfall Gyarados in Open Master League. And I'm like, wait a minute. I look at the CP and I'm like, no, that's not a hundo. But even then, the reason I'm really iffy about Waterfall Gyarados is because of Kyogre. You kind of want to have Dragon Breath or Dragon Tail. I send a, so this is kind of like, I pretty much win at this point, but I just send in just to be funny or like see if I can like squeeze some damage off with SCIZOR or like, I was trying to sack basically. As you see, we don't get the sack, but it's pretty much GG's because all I really have to do is double up on Psy Strikes and my opponent won't be able to get to 2 Crunches or Aqua Tails, or well, you need 2 Crunches to take out Mewtwo, and that's GG's. We lost the lead hard as heck, but apparently SCIZOR can try to force your opponent because your opponent really, like, I don't know what the heck is like, is that a SCIZOR? I'm like, yeah, this is SCIZOR. That's a hundo SCIZOR. I caught it a long time ago, and like for some like it works. But because of Waterfall, as you see here, I'll be able to squeeze out 1 Psy Strike, and that's GG's. I still might have been able to win, even if, well, actually no, like getting Crunch on Lugia would have been really dangerous, and that likely would have been GG's. But as you see, we get the dub here. Dialga will Dragon Breath me down, and we just Dragon Tail for the victory, and that's GG's. So the first battle is insanely sweaty. And this is the first time I actually tried that, like, just sacking SCIZOR in the lead. Just because I'm like, okay, you know, we might be able to pull some win conditions here. The keyword is might. And, you know, like, All Might from My Hero, if you watch My Hero, it's an amazing anime. And unfortunately, we can't use One for All and go, like, full overpowered against the most overpowered thing in all of Open Master League. Because, well, Master League Classic. But still, Dialga, since Season 1 has still been the most expensive, one of the most, well, anything at level 40 Legendary is expensive, but also getting a hundo is really hard. And the specific data for, like, getting, like, level 4, it's really dumb. Speaking of dumb, as you see here, for the second match, we get a Garchomp into our SCIZOR. And this is actually still a bad matchup for us, because the reason why is, like I mentioned, SCIZOR only convincingly wins 2 matchups. Zacian and Togekiss. And this is a Garchomp, because if Garchomp hits me with that, even if Garchomp hits you with an Outrage, because SCIZOR is not that powerful in Master League, you're going to take a lot of damage. I mean, you saw how much Iron Head does. Like, yeah, Outrage, it does a lot. So I'm just going to let SCIZOR go at this point. If this is Earth Power, I'm going to die. If it's Earthquake, I'm going to die. If it's Outrage, I'll live, but barely. As you see, barely. I switch into Lugia, hoping to be able to smack down that Garchomp before anything happens. And we get a Metagross. And this is why Hydro Pump is so good. You gotta pump it up, you know what I mean? If you go to the arcades, they have like that Pump It Up, which is like DDR, like Dance Dance Revolution. And except instead of like 4 steps, you have 5 steps. So this is going to be a meteor match because Lugia is super bulky. We'll be able to take it. And I'm gonna hit the Hydro Pump. 9 times out of 10, they're gonna think this is an Aeroblast. They're like, oh, okay. You know what? I ain't gonna shield this. This is totally this is not a Hydro Pump. Not a Hydro Pump. Hydro Pump goes through and it does big damage, and not really big damage. No, seriously, the freaking Metagross was still. I'm like, wow, that's all it does. Like, it's in the yellow, like, bro. So I'm gonna try to win switch here. Garchomp is already really hurt. We have our SCIZOR for a sack, and we have a Mewtwo. So King of Charmander is gonna get a little more energy over here, and he's gonna fire this Sky Attack. Maybe we'll grab a shield, or maybe they'll just let Metagross go, which should be the play for them. Metagross goes down, you have shield advantage, and we get Zacian! And I'm like, oh, crap. So this is the worst matchup for us. I'm trying to hit Hydro Pump, but, like, my opponent knows I have Hydro Pump, and I managed to Dragon Tail that Garchomp down because they tried to sack, and then we have Hydro Pump ready. I can break a shield here, and then I can send in Mewtwo to get some Side Strike damage. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to send a Mewtwo. I should be able to get to 2 Side Strikes. I can live a Wild Charge, a Play Rough, and a... Well, you wouldn't want a Close Combat Mewtwo, but basically I can live anything the Zacian throws at us. It's a Play Rough. I live through it, and I'm going to double up on Side Strike. What I'm banking on here is that doubling up on Side Strike plus Bullet Punch damage will be able to KO this Zacian. Well, maybe. So this is what we're banking on. That was my win condition thought process. I'm like, you know what? Maybe we could just bullet punch maybe we could just hit you with a 2-piece in the soda like Jorge Masvidal, because Side Strike will put you in the red. We'll be able to break the second shield here, and maybe, just maybe, we can smack and bullet punch down the stupid overpowered fairy dog thingy. Fairy dog thingy, because it's... Zacian is so annoying. Zacian Dialga is the most overpowered core. And they close combat, which I'm kind of scratching my head as to why. Because they close combated, I'm able to bullet punch down for the dub. Well, I had a shield, so it wouldn't really matter. Basically, I was going to bullet punch and then Dragon Tail down. And then that still would have been enough chip damage to take out that Zacian. So it was a very, very interesting predicament. You're like, King of Charmanders, why didn't you shield? And I'm like, I forgot I had a shield. No, that's literally what happened. I forgot. Well, actually, my thought process, once they close combat, I was like, okay. Or I wanted to save the shield for whatever I had in the back. So, along with that, Play Rough takes more energy to get to the close combat, so that's why they did that. In the third match, we have Mewtwo versus our SCIZOR. And I lose this matchup. Yes, you actually, in the 2 shield, you don't have a really comfortable matchup here. Watch how much damage Side Strike does, because Side Strike is just such a great mon. That's why Mewtwo broke my open. That's why when I did my little analysis, is Mewtwo was the most powerful, like, in my opinion, was the most powerful save switch in Season 1. With Focus Blast, you could easily blast through shields and take out those Dialgas, as well as Melmetals. And as you see, Side Strike does so much damage. It puts you almost in, like, it literally, like, takes out and puts you in the yellow, but, like, even, like, beyond yellow. You have, like, 30% of your HP left. So I'm going to shield this second one. I'm going to try to break shields here. What I'm hoping with this one is I'm just going to keep alignment, and I'm going to pray. We are going to pray. We pray that we're not going to get absolutely destroyed and annihilated as of this moment. Keyword is praying. So Night Slash goes through. Our opponent elects to shield, and I'm like, okay. So here's what's even worse about this matchup. The thing about this is Mewtwo wins CMP against SCIZOR. So, like, I'm basically just trying to make it so that I can get some chip on that Mewtwo. Side Strike goes through. This will KO. And then as you see here, I'm going to send a Mewtwo and I'm going to farm it down. We can live a Side Strike. Side Strike still does big damage. But they're essentially going to just Side Strike me, as you see here. And then I'm going to blast. Hopefully a Mewtwo with a bazillion energy can, like, clutch out this matchup. This is a Shiny Mirror match, by the way. I just noticed that. So as you see, we're just going to Side Strike down. They should be able to get to a second one. Now we have a ton of energy for whatever's in the back. And it is a Dialga. So I will hit one Side Strike in an attempt to fate my opponent. I want to make my opponent think that, okay, he doesn't have Focus Blast. Side Strike goes through. Okay. So this is called the 1-2 fate. You know, you hit him with the 2-piece, and then, like, after you hit the Side Strike, they're like, okay, you know what? This guy doesn't have Focus Blast. You know, he didn't go for the first one. I usually do this nowadays because everyone thinks Mewtwo has freaking Focus Blast. Thank you to all of those, like, copying. Well, they're not copying. I popularized that. I legit popularized Focus Blast Mewtwo back in Season 1. The data went out the way it did because I was using it and just simming the crap out, or, like, training battling the crap out of it. And then became popular. Then it became the main one because Focus Blast is good. Focus Blast is good. I wasn't the only one using it, but I definitely was the only one using it in a full anti-meta team. As you see here, we're going to break the second shield, and then I'm going to pray. Well, actually, this is pretty much GG's because, like, Lugia in the back against Groudon without a shield, all I have to do is Hydro Pump, and that's GG's. You need, like, 5 Fire Punches to kill well, not even 5, like, more than 5 to kill Lugia just because it's so tanky. And then we come out with a W. As you see here, freaking SCIZOR coming out with the dubs. Or rather, we just got really lucky for that back row. Well, I did have shield advantage, so even if it was a Giratina, you win the 1-0s with a Lugia, so it's what it is. This second one, we get AOJR, so I hope that I don't lose the freaking lead, of course. So you lose the lead again. I think no, I lose all 4 leads. Yeah, I think didn't I lose? Yeah, I lost a ton of leads, man. It freaking sucked. And as you see, we get a freaking Kyogre into our Mewtwo. They switch out really late, though, which is a bad idea on their part. Ideally, what you wanted to do there was actually be, like, I would have fired. Like, get chip damage on Mewtwo. Because as you see here, we get the first shield thinking it's a Shadow Ball. And then I'm going to fire this second Side Strike. We want to do as much chip as we possibly can. So that we have our, well, we already know the whale has energy. But we need to keep it away from SCIZOR because against SCIZOR, Night Slash is not going to do a lot of damage against the big killer whale. And the fact that it resists both Iron Head and Bullet Punch. So, we're in a lot of danger right now. As you see, they're going to Side Strike us to Oblivion. And we still have a Side Strike of our own. So, I want to keep shield advantage as much as possible here. Or I want to keep alignment. So, I want to make it so I have at least like... Okay, so we grab the second shield, which is kind of... I'm kind of scratching my head because I'm like, why would you grab my second shield? Because... this is actually okay, so I'm like vibing right now. I'm like, okay, you know, I can take you out. And then basically what my strategy here is to leave Lugia with 2 shields. Because that's the only choice we have. We're going to get taken. We can't leave SCIZOR against Kyogre. Kyogre has energy. So what we're going to do is we're going to Night Slash down right here. And then I'm going to pray that this Kyogre will just... I want the Kyogre to throw all its energy. That's what I'm trying to do here. I get a little bit of energy. My idea is I'm trying to make it so I can get to another Night Slash. Maybe they're going to farm me. We'll see what happens here. As you see, we're going to fire off this Night Slash. This should KO Mewtwo. And then we're in the yellow. So they're going to send in Kyogre. And I save all this energy. I got 2 freaking shields. With 2 shields, maybe I could come out with the dub. So I'm being very patient here. As you see, the whale likely has a Blizzard. This might be a Blizzard or a Thunder. Maybe a Blizzard. That's why I shield. But they debate me. As you see here, the surf bait is strong, and the surf goes through, and then we get a Garchomp. And I'm like, okay, you know what? I have a win condition. I have a win condition. So, with 2 shields, as long as I don't get baited, I should be okay. Keyword is I should. Dragon Tail goes off. Dragon Tail damage isn't doing that much, thankfully. And then they get to a move, and I'm like, wait a minute, you know what? Is this... I'm pretty sure that this is just a Sand Tomb. And it is, because I was counting. Well, subconsciously counting. My brain was like, dude, this is a freaking Sand Tomb. You shield this, you are dumb. You are not worthy. You're not worthy like Thor's hammer. Speaking of that, is the elevator worthy? You know, I always wonder that in, like, Marvel lore. Is the elevator worthy if you put Thor's hammer and then the elevator goes up? Is the elevator worthy? Like, you know, I know it's like a meme, but, like, you know... it's what it is. So my idea here is I'm going to get a Night Slash off, and hopefully I can get to a Sky Attack to KO and come out with the dub. Because this is our only win con right now. We need to do chip, we need to shield the surf, and then come out with a freaking Sky Attack. And hopefully, just maybe, with this Dragon Tail coming through, because what happens is the whale wins CMP. So, I'm hoping, and I'm like, I'm praying, please, please, do not end the whale gets freaking yes. But we get 2 Dragon Tails through because, you know, the game's absolutely goated. It's totally working. Totally working. And thankfully, a surf at yellow doesn't kill. And we managed to get the Sky Attack through. Thankfully, thanks because of this, Sky Attack should KO out this range. And this is GG's. Sadly, for the 5th battle, this is why I say almost 5-0s. Because in the 5th battle, for some odd reason, whenever I make content, I'm trying to use something spicy and it almost 5-0s. Like... I always get hard countered in the 5th battle. It happened with the Hydreigon Shoutcast. And I get hard countered in the 5th battle. That's why I'm like, wow. Dang, man. Almost. But I usually do 5 battles during Shoutcast. So, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to show you this pretty legit, like, this battle was pretty nuts. Yeah, this battle was pretty nuts. So, and it's also against a legend, so... you already know it's going to be sweaty. This person knows what he's doing. Well, I'm not saying most of you don't know what you're doing, but then, like, you know, if you made Legend, you probably know what the hell you're doing. And we lose a freaking lead! Yay! Overpowered Dialga! Yay! And then we get a Giratina. And this is even worse because it's Giratina Altered, not Origins. Giratina Altered is a beast because of the fact that it's so godforsakenly tanky, and it can actually live a Side Strike. As you see, one Side Strike, and it's still in the green. Normally, if it's Origins, it won't be that way. You will be able to get into yellow and have like 40%, 40 40% or close to 50 of its 8% of its HP left. So as you see, Giratina's Dragon Claws are just gonna blast off, and then we're trying to side strike it down. My idea here is I'm going to try to do as much chip as I can, or hopefully I can break a shield. Ideally, I want a shield. We grab a shield. This is great. We have shield advantage. Now, what I'm going to do here is I'm like, okay, you know what do I do? Because I was thinking, you know what, Shadow Claw charges mad fast. But the good part about this is that Mewtwo wins CMP. So maybe, just maybe, I can break one more shield in this scenario. Because they're going to try to farm me down. And we do. The issue is I'm going to have to go against the whole freaking Giratina with a bazillion energy. So that's kind of bad. Will they let it go or will they live? So they let it go. And they send in their Dialga. I don't have anything. I don't have an answer. I have nothing. 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 If I don't have... Well, if you know... Whitney Houston is an amazing artist. So if you know that song, we can be friends. And as you see here, I have nothing for this Dialga, especially with the fact that I didn't shield this Draco Meteor. And then we get a Togekiss. So here's the thing. My idea is like, alright, I'm like, okay, you know what? I only have one win condition. So as you see, I'm going to farm down this entire Togekiss and triple Night Slash. I will shield this because it might be an Aerialist, it might be a Flamethrower. But my idea is, please, I'm going to farm it down completely with a SCIZOR. This is the first time you will see a SCIZOR farm down a Togekiss for content. Maybe. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure it's been done before. And we have triple Night Slash. I must boost or I lose. And you probably know what happens. I get the freaking boost. Here we go. I get the boost. And I'm like, oh my god, I can win. But watch. Boosted Night Slash. We're going to grab the second shield here. And then I'm like, okay, boosted Night Slash. Go. And boosted Night Slash will put this in the red. And this thing is so overpowered that literally that did like nothing. Well, it did something, but like almost nothing. We're gonna grab the third shield here, and then what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna send Lugia, because Lugia's got energy, and we're gonna combo, triple combo breaker. And before I like make a ridiculous like life choice, as you see, Bullet Punch isn't gonna farm it down, so all we're gonna do is combo in with the Sky Attack, and we're gonna send Hurricane 69420 towards the most overpowered thing in Open Master League and Master League Classic, and that's GG's. I hope y'all enjoyed the battles. SCIZOR almost 5-0. Yes, you can farm down a whole Togekiss as long as you have a shield with a SCIZOR, and hopefully you could triple Night Slash for the W like you see here. I hope you guys enjoyed that Shoutcast. And that's GG's. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. As you see, SCIZOR was pretty beastly, despite the fact that we literally got none of the matchups we were asking for. So, for science, yes, SCIZOR has a pretty good matchup against Zacian and against Togekiss. If you land the Iron Head, you can and will KO. The problem is, even at maxed out, it only maxed out at 3000 CP, and its overall stat product is absolute garbage. So, unless you're trying to tank, or it didn't tank, as you see, it almost 5-0'd. Keyword is almost. And then for the 5th battle, I got hard countered, as freaking usual. I would have been so freaking happy if I would have 5-0'd, and you know, you give me a little bit, you know, sheesh. Anyways, I hope y'all enjoyed the Shoutcast. Those battles were pretty nuts. I had to put on my thing. I don't practice when I use spice battles for tanking or spice content. So my brain, I just kind of go with it, or I do like one or 5 sims to see if something works, and then I'll use it. But I hope you guys enjoyed the battles. Do me a huge favor. Please like and subscribe. It's totally free. And you can easily subscribe. You see my 2 Charmanders? Next to there's the subscribe box on the bottom right. Put your mouse over it, and you can easily subscribe from the sound of my voice by the time I'm done talking. I really appreciate my current subscribers. Good luck on your Go Battle League sets, and I will see you guys on the next video.